Bob Spearing.
Thanks, Sean. Hi, everybody. We have been getting a wealth of material now over the past couple of months. And before I begin, I just wanted to say that when I was in headquarters last October, rummaging through stuff for the Project Aquarius Digital Library, I found this packet. And this packet contains the dirt samples from the Delphos case in the 1980s in Kansas. There's even a letter in here from Billy Black, the boy that saw the UFO, and it's addressed to Walt Andrus. So there's some history here. This hasn't been tested since the 1990s, so we're gonna go back and retest it with 21st century technology, and we'll present this next year, our results. We also have, at the MUFON lab right now, some gelatin that an abductee claimed had been smeared all over her body. And she was smart enough to capture some of the residue. So we'll be doing DNA testing on that also. So this year, last year, we got a case from Russia. A very nice man. His name is Arkady Grushenov, and he filed a case with MUFON, and he claimed that he belongs to a CE5 group, and they do meditations. And things began to mysteriously appear around him in his house over a period of 2 weeks. They call it apporting rather than materializing. And he believed that he was in contact with an unknown entity called Timocue. And we regarded the case at first as another contactee type case of Van Tassel or a Adamski. But he said, no, this material, I brought it to 2 Russian labs, all right? And the Russian labs, this is Arkady. He's watching right now from Moscow, by the way. Say hi, Arkady. This is a piece of the material. We have a lot of it. A lot of it's still in Russia, but this is what it looks like. These began in his house. So he said, I went to 2 different labs in Moscow, gemological institutes, and that they did testing on the substance that Timocue claimed was pieces of UFO wreckage. It's very, very light material. It almost looks porous, like it has pores. It has a tinge of gold in it, but it's basically a black material. It seems to be some sort of composite. It's so light that it won't even bend the flour. This is the first lab test. There were 5 pieces of metal detected in it. They used an X-ray fluorescence gun, and I'll show you what that is in a couple of minutes. And basically, they found 5 elements that amounted to 10% of the little piece. The other 90%, the laboratory could not identify. They did say that there was no graphene in it. In this one, this is the second lab, they found an additional element. So the elements were calcium, titanium, iron, arsenic, and I can't think of the last one off the top of my head, copper. All right? So the rest of it, the other 90%, didn't match up to anything with the X-ray fluoroscope in both tests in Russia. So we said, send it to the MUFON lab in Missouri. So Arkady was kind enough to send it all the way to Linman, our chief lab technician in Missouri. And it's very hard to do now because of the Ukraine war. So you have to send it via Turkey to the United States. So there was no guarantee we'd get the sample, but we did. I'm going backwards, that's why. So I'm going to show you a couple of pieces of the different pieces that he has in his possession. Now, they used an X-ray fluorescence gun on it. And it tries not to destroy the material itself, but it measures the X-ray source. And I'm not a scientist, so I can't tell you how, but basically this is what an X-ray fluorescence gun looks like. And they're very accurate. So if the gun is saying there's 10% of it could be identified and the rest couldn't, that's pretty compelling. So Lynn Mann did her lab analysis, and I'll read it to you. Case was presented as a small rectangular piece of what in the light microscope appeared to be black and gold insulation, which is important. Perhaps conductive due to the gold in a core, the specimen appeared to be metallic in nature, so we therefore tested it with the use of an X-ray fluorescence gun on the alloy analysis setting that includes elemental identification, chemistry, and spectrum. At the time of the test, the gun was working well and had analyzed several other specimens the week before. The results were therefore unexpected. These results were no match to standard, which is common aluminum alloy. In other words, they test the gun against something that's known, aluminum, and it came back 100% aluminum in the reading. Then they tested it on a sample. No match to standard. This isn't itself understandable. The chemistry reading was also likewise no elemental findings, which surprised us as similar constructs had been identified by a previous lab. So we were in opposition to the two other labs. The two other labs detected 5 and 6 elements. Our lab couldn't detect anything. That's something in the form of the spectrum pictured below that they can't identify. It may be a background signal, but we have never had this before, so it's doubtful. A few close-up light microscope pictures of the object are included. So basically, this spectrograph reading doesn't match anything that they have in her database of known spectrographic readings on metals. This is a close-up. It appears to have been cut prior to our receiving it, and some of the samples did look like they were sharp-edged, like not broken. As she went deeper, outer surface appears metallic and black silver, although we didn't register anything with the X-ray fluorescence gun, and even extreme close-up of the cut surface. We're at the microscopic level now. The conclusion that Lynn Mann came up with is, by appearance only, it appears to be some sort of lightweight insulation suited to conductive insulating or something needing heat protection, which could correspond to it being a piece of debris from some sort of craft. I wanted some clarification from Lynn, so I asked her about the alloy, the aluminum testing to the gun before reading, and she explained that the protocol requires this. No match means just that. It came up with no match against the standard, but also had a chemistry reading so that if there is no match to standard, it will give out a set of elements. I found none. That either means it's A, not a metal, or B, a metal alloy that isn't recognized, or something in the periodic table. The signal was unique because I have looked up the standard peaks for most known metals, and nothing matched it exactly. So I asked her to send the sample to me. In the middle there is that it was delivered to my house. We were going to use it at the symposium, just like we're doing tonight, but we we're going to have it analyzed first by an electron microscope. It never showed up in my mailbox. Well, it did. It was a little white box, and when I went to pick it up the next day, it wasn't there. And I went to my mail clerk and said, hey, I have that it was delivered. And she said, yes, Bob, it was delivered. I put the box in your mailbox myself. So the question becomes, who would be daring enough to remove something from a federal mailbox, federally governed mailbox? Let me jump ahead. Up and down. All right, so after it disappeared, we tried a little bit of skullduggery to get another sample from Russia. So I wrote a letter, snail mail, to somebody in MUFON and told them, you're going to be receiving a package. Arcady sends another package. We corresponded one way by signal, another way by telegram, going back and forth, and the package actually made it to the United States, and then it sat in customs for 17 days. So we thought it was just going to disappear, but it arrived safely at the location that we were sending it to. So it's in this envelope, and we have it here tonight. We're just going to open it up. I'm just going to show you people. After this, it's going to go to 2 laboratories more for further testing, especially with an electron microscope. So Chris DeParno was kind enough to worry for weeks if the CIA was going to come knocking on his door. But he has it here, and he's going to open it up, and we're going to rip it open. Nothing happened to Lynn Mann, our chief lab tech, so I don't think anything's going to happen tonight. I better hope there's something in here.
Here, go ahead and turn the key.
The letter. All right, so hopefully there'll be a little piece of black material in here. Would you hold this?
Yeah. You want to do a drum roll?
The letter wasn't tampered with, by the way. Uh-oh, it's in a nice little holiday envelope. Let's hope there's a present in here. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I got it. So that's it for me.
Hold that up.
We're going to be sending this on by personal carrier. A lot of people made fun of us for using the U.S. mail. But the point is, you know, while MUFON might have a big name, we don't have couriers that can just drive all over the country, all right? And whether or not we used the United States Postal Service or FedEx or any of the others, the chances are that we're being watched and it was intercepted, the first sample. So we're very blessed to have this. And that's about it for me for tonight. Ron's gonna come up now with 3 more presentations. And if you stick around for the portals, I'll be doing that after this, okay? So thank you very much. Ron?